Alright, so I just went outside and I picked some dandelions. I got not many. I mean, it's a nice batch, but it's still really early in the year. And they're really great to eat, but the worst part about them is cleaning them. So all you want is the leaves. So you pull all of that off and you end up with just leaves. And you got to go through all of these. And it's worth it. We always called them Chigaudies, and that's just a bastardized way of saying Cicoria, which in Italian means chicory, and these are in the same family as chicory. And they're really good for you, unless you're on blood thinners, then you can't eat them because they're really high in vitamin K. And if you're taking blood thinners, you shouldn't have vitamin K. But it's boring work, but well worth it, because you only get them for a couple of months a year. Because once, where I live, about, I guess it's probably May. This is March, probably May, the end of May, they start getting really bitter. And then they're not as good. You could still eat them, but they're just not as good. So you just, you get a colander and you just stand here and pick all the garbage out. And then when you're washing them, you put them in a bowl and most of the trash will float to the top, and you keep pouring that off. And it's a lot of work. But if you've never had dandelions, it's absolutely worth the work. They are great. I look forward to this every spring. And I just, lucked out. I happened to notice them out in the yard. I don't have dogs. If you have dogs, you probably don't want to pick them out of your yard. And then you definitely don't want to get any little slugs, because that's not healthy. All you want is the nice leaves. That's it. It's all you're going for, is just the nice leaves. And you could buy these in the store. They started to become popular. I guess somebody online or something started talking about them, or one of those celebrity chefs or something, who knows. But since I was just a little boy, I've always been sent out in the yard. Hey, go pick some Chigaudies. We're gonna have them for lunch. Okay, what are we having? Chigaudies and eggs. Okay. And that was it. Go outside and spend 15-20 minutes and pick dandelions. But when I was a kid, I didn't have to clean them. Somebody else always did, like my mom or one of my aunts or somebody. But now I clean them, and then I'll bring a whole batch over to my mom, and then she'll fix lunch. And of course hers are better than mine, but mine are still pretty good. So anyway, it goes pretty quick once you get rolling. And that's just a mess of dandelions. Alright, so here is my mess of dandelions. And I got bugs crawling all around my sink. Which is fine, that's part of picking stuff out of your yard or out of the garden. So I'm going to rinse them through the colander for a minute, and then I'm going to put them in a stainless bowl to soak. And if there's any mud on them, soaking them will break up the mud, and you pull out any little chunks of leaves or bugs or whatever you got. You just want to clean them. And I'll soak them in the bowl, and then I'll wash them again and rinse them out in the colander. And then I'll make something with them. So all I'm going to do is just put that in a bowl, fill it up with water, and a lot of the little pieces, like little leaves and things like that, will float to the top. If there's any bugs, they'll come to the top. And then you just spill all that off into the sink. What I'm doing is this. And all the little bits of stuff that you don't want is spilling off the edge. And you pick out the ones that don't look good, or any pieces of grass or anything that's not dandelion leaves. All right. I'm making homemade pizzas for lunch today, so while I'm making the pizzas, I'll let this soak in the ice cold water. Alright, so now I'm going to do something with those Chigaudies, or the dandelions that I cleaned. Actually, it's 2 days later in the time frame of the video. I gave half to my mom, of course. And all I'm going to do is make dandelions and eggs sandwich for lunch. So it's just, as usual, a little bit of olive oil, not a whole lot. And a little garlic. Alright, I'll throw in the garlic. Heat it up a little bit. This is super simple. And it's one of my favorite springtime, because like I said, you can buy these in the supermarket, but they're stupid expensive, and I don't know why anybody would pay for them if you could go outside in your yard and pick them, unless you got a really beautiful lawn that doesn't have any dandelions. But I have not a beautiful lawn, and it's loaded with dandelions. But like I said a minute ago, or the other day, I don't have any dogs, so I can afford to go outside and pick them out of the lawn. And really, most of them you get like up against the house or against a walkway, and dogs don't go there anyway. So even if you have dogs, chances are you could probably still get dandelions. All right, so I'm just going to throw in some, and like all greens, they cook down to nothing. So that seems like an awful lot just for a sandwich or two. It's not. That'll cook down to hardly nothing. There's enough left for another sandwich. This will probably be 2 sandwiches. And while that's going, I'll make some toast. This is one of the few sandwiches I like on white bread, like BLT, or an egg sandwich I like on white bread. Some things I like on white bread, but generally speaking, I like hard crust, like French bread or Italian bread, things like that. So I'll just lightly toast it, and that's what I'm going to eat it on. So while this sweats for a minute, I'll do that, and then I'll get my eggs. See how quick? I mean, it's nothing flat. These things, and I only have the heat on, I only have the heat on 4. I'm going to whack it back a little bit. And let me get a fork and flip these. And of course, when you're using a non-stick pan, you don't want to stick the fork into the pan. A buddy of mine, he's pretty adamant about that. All right, let me pull these off to the side because I should have had the eggs ready, and I don't want to overdo them. The only thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt and a little crushed red pepper. Let me put it, make sure you can see. All right, just added a little bit of salt, a little bit of crushed red pepper. All right, so the way I do this is not so much like a French scrambled egg that it's where it's really custardy. I do it more like a Western omelet. You know, more cooked, more dense. But I start off like a French scrambled egg. So I'll bring the heat way up, like if I was doing a French scrambled egg. And with this style egg, I don't really scramble them a whole lot. I kind of like it, well, about like that. Here we go. And then with the curved part of the fork, I'll let these tighten up for a second. If it's slippery, I'll flip it. But like all greens, it gets watery. And sometimes flipping it is not real easy. Let me try. All right, that was good. And there's how that looks. Very, very Western omelet looking. And then I'll just tighten that up for a minute. Turn it off because there's plenty enough heat in the pan. You could see the steam coming off. That's the water from the greens. Oh, that's beautiful. It's lightly brown, which normally on scrambled eggs I don't like at all, but on this, like a Western omelet or peppers and eggs, dandelions and eggs, asparagus and eggs, anything like this, I like it just lightly brown, like you could see right there. And that's how I like it, and that's done. That's ready to go. And then just get some on there. All right. And that's it. There is a dandelion and egg sandwich, Chigaudies and eggs. It's one of my favorite springtime things. I look forward to it every year. I have since I was a little kid. First one of the year. Oh, like I said, I look forward to this every spring. It's just outstanding. It's just, you pick them out of the yard, you come inside, you clean them, which is a pain. But then you cook them, it takes 2 minutes. And you got one of the greatest sandwiches of all time. Dandelions and eggs. I'm going to go eat.